Okay, so this is gonna be my tier list on the arena mode of Black Clover Mobile. Now, I am a top 20 player at the moment in arena, and there should be about like 5,000 people, 5 to 10,000 in this beta, I think. Maybe a bit less, maybe more. And of course, not everyone is playing arena, but I'd say that it kind of proves my points a little bit more. It gives me a bit of validation. I am only missing two characters, but those two characters being Fuego and Asta, seasonal Asta. I do believe there's like their tiers to be concrete. I've seen a lot of gameplay of them. And as for the SRs, for the most part, I'm like understanding of most of these SRs, so I'm gonna be able to rank them. And the ones that are just like not looking good, of course, they're gonna be D tier. So S, A, B, C, and D. An S tier in arena is basically just someone that you just want to run on every single team almost. Of course, you might not end up running everyone. And the A tiers are also very good options that, depending on the team, can make them S tier. Now B is a decent option, but there's definitely better. C I would definitely recommend not running, and D just don't even think of it, right? Now, I'm going to start with all the SSRs. I want to rank those first in their tiers. But, okay, we're going to go by tier. We're going to go by tier, so all the S, and then all the A, then all the B, then all the C, then all the D. So the first for S rank, and probably the best contender for S, is Rill. Rill is absolutely amazing. His first skill could freeze and do good damage. His second skill is a counter. Now, this counter is insane. I literally got it to do 66,000 in this game, and you got to take it into account. Most of the people do 10 to 20k max. Real did 66k. That's almost an entire person's health, which it could be someone's whole health. Real is just insane. Now, you also have to think his third ability takes off all buffs and lowers defense by I think 55%, something around that range. Real is literally amazing. Now, to pair up amazing with Real, Mars. Mars is also just so good. He has an AoE stun, he has a taunt, he gives himself shield, and he has a single target stun that you could use every single turn. Now, it's kind of stupid because I got his skill book, and this stun literally lasts 2 turns. But obviously, we're not counting the books. I just wanted to mention that. Mars, his stun is very annoying. He also is a very good tank as he taunts and could hit with his second ability 3 people with the taunt. So Mars, definitely amazing and a must pick if you do have him. Next up, we're going to go with Mimosa. This Mimosa's heals in arena are very useful. Mimosa basically has a full heal, and like there's nothing more. She does other stuff, but all you need to know is her heals are literally just that good. And next up, William. This William is absolutely amazing. So his second ability is a guaranteed tree stun basically, and his ultimate heals a bit, but the main part of his ult is that they are immortal and they cannot receive debuffs. So I think that overall, with this stun and immortality, this William is very good. And you're seeing him a lot because that tree ability is very annoying. I gotta say that. For the most part, that is all there is in S. So we're gonna start with A. We're gonna slowly go through this. First off, my GOAT, Noelle. I'm using her still, and I'll explain why. So her first ability heals, and it is a very good heal. For me, it's about 9,000. Now, her second ability is an AoE taunt, and she does go into a defense stance. So she's going to be taunting everyone and taking a lot less damage. Now, her ult is a whole area AoE shield for all her teammates, which goes up to 15k HP, which is really, really good. It's crazy how good it is. So Noelle overall is an amazing tank and healer, and just a taunt in general, so it's so good. Now, next off, we're going to go with Asta. This Asta is extremely good as he has an AoE taunt, and while that taunt is up and he's using that ability, he does not take damage. He has an invincibility, and he also does pretty good damage. It's not amazing, but it's good. So this Asta as a tank is very, very good. Next up, we're going to get a bit toxic, but Heath. Heath is very good. This Heath has freeze on pretty much all his abilities, and on his ult, if you use it turn 1, it is a guaranteed freeze on everyone. And when you consider that the bots use it turn 1 for defense and attack, this Heath is literally almost a must pick, but he's just A because he dies very quickly, and after the first turn, if your team can't sweep through, like, Heath is pretty useless. He's good for stun, but that's pretty much it. As for like the S's, they have a stun either, or like they do have a stun. Mars has a stun, but he's also good at tanking. Heath is just good for his stun, which is why he's a very strong A rank contender. Now, this Mimosa, I believe she could be B or A, but I'm putting her A because, like, if you don't have seasonal, this Mimosa is second best healer. She's a very good healer and could almost do full heals, but not as good as seasonal Mimosa. So Mimosa just gets a solid A. I think everyone could understand why. Just there's no other healers except for the Mimosas. Now this is also very good, as he does have an AoE stun, and he does just good damage in general, one of the best DPS in the game. He does also have Decapitate or Incapacitate. Let me just make sure. But I believe it is one of those two, and it is just very good. So it is Incapacitate, yeah. So you take extra damage, and that's on an AoE. Then he has his stun on his combo, I believe. Okay, yeah, so he does have a stun, and it's an AoE stun if they do already have the Incapacitate on. So he is very good at Incapacitate. It basically makes you take more damage, and his AoE ult reduces defense. So this guy is going to be doing a lot of damage after a while. Like, I've seen him do a crazy amount of damage. So definitely a very good pick if you want to and you don't have anyone else. Now, next up, we are going to put the seasonal Yuno. This seasonal Yuno in general is just a very good attacker. He's going to do insane damage, and the same way as he does apply Incapacitate on everyone, and his ult is going to do a lot of damage as it has weapon enhancement, which makes him do more damage, and ignores 60% of defense. So this Yuno is going to be doing a lot of damage on ultimate if he's built up, and you could tell, like, when they're built up, they do crazy amounts of damage. Now, next up, obviously, we have to put the boy Asta. This Asta is basically a shield shredder and does very good damage, single target. He's going to be shredding Noelle and Mars's HP, their shield and HP basically, because he gets rid of shields, and these two, their shield is what makes them a lot better. So this Asta is an amazing counter, but except for that, I've seen it's been pretty easy to kill him. Of course, I do have a pretty toxic team, but this Asta does go down pretty quickly. Just, he does good damage and is good against these two. So he's definitely gonna be deserving of A rank. Last off, I have kind of had my opinions change of him, but this Jack in Arena is absolutely cracked. Beginning, he doesn't do good damage, but as you rank, as you build up, he's gonna be doing a lot of bleed stacks, and those bleed stacks are gonna kill the team so quick. It's insane. So this Jack to me is definitely A rank. I think they did a really good job with Jack for Arena. Just in PvE, he's a bit less good in my opinion. I haven't really used him too much, but definitely this Jack is solid, very solid. Maybe the best DPS next to this as I guess you could say. But no, this Jack definitely with his bleed stacks is very good. Now, we're going to have to go on to B rank. First off, I'm going to be putting Fuegoleon in this, as it doesn't do anything too crazy. He does not have a guaranteed stun, if I remember correctly, but he does have a 20% chance to stun. So if you do get lucky, this Fuego is good. He does pretty decent damage, but it's just not that crazy. So that's why he's a solid B in my opinion. Next up, we're going to put his brother in arms. We're going to put Nozel. Now, this Nozel is a good AoE attacker. He does give himself shield, and he does have a poison, but except for that, it's nothing crazy. He's a debuffer, but his ult doesn't even debuff anything. So, I mean, it does remove barriers, but except for that, to me, it doesn't do that much damage in my opinion. And by the way, if you want to like say something and like believe otherwise, you're free to that opinion, and you can explain to me why. I'd love to hear other opinions. Now, next up, we're going to go for Yami. This Yami, he does have defense reduction on his AoE single target, AoE first ability, but except for that, this Yami doesn't do like crazy good damage. If you did have his skill book, he's going to do good damage, but without it, obviously, nothing too crazy. I think he's a solid B. Doesn't deserve lower, doesn't really deserve higher. These people are higher, do damage sometimes, most of them do, but they also have other gimmicks to them to make him make him A rank. Now, next up, we're going to be putting Lotus. This Lotus is a good debuffer, and he does have a stun if certain conditions are met. Like, I'm pretty sure if their attack percentage is reduced, then he gets like the stun off. But he's nothing like too crazy, just he is good in certain circumstances with the right teams. But I don't think he's deserving more of B. I think he's a solid B. Like, this Lotus is pretty good. When I fight him, he is very annoying, but I've never lost to a Lotus. Like, I've lost to Heaths, and I've lost to all these S ranks because, like, these guys are toxic. But like, A's for the most part I've lost to, but B's is where like they haven't really done much to my team. So next up, I think Charlotte is deserving of a B rank in PvP. In PvE, I could say she's higher, but for PvP, I wouldn't say so. She's not like amazing. She has a chance to apply total silence, but it's not guaranteed on her ult, AoE, right? Now, she can apply defense reduction, Thing is though, none of it's guaranteed, so it's not that good. And her second ability does have a chance to give her an extra turn, but if you don't, it's not even like a good first skill, so you don't even want to get the extra turn sometimes, because instead you do get the stamina increase. So she's like okay. If you get lucky, she could be like cracked, but if not, she's not that good. Now, Radis actually surprised me when I read his kit more. This guy gives immortality for 2 turns. You could argue putting him in B. I'm not saying you can't. Just he has one ability that's good. His ult, immortality, debuff block, and is there something else? I think it's immortality, debuff block, and barrier, which very good. Just I don't know how good the barrier is, but except for that, he's like honestly very solid. If I try him out more, maybe I could give him A, but I don't think he's deserving of S. But B definitely. He could be A. Honestly, he could be. I could see him being A, but I want to put him B. For me, it's more of a solid ranking for him. I haven't seen him that much in PvP yet, so I can't like 100% say. But he's definitely deserving of at least B in my eyes. Okay, so we're done the first 3 tiers. Now we're going to actually get into the stuff that might get a bit controversial. Sally. She just does debuffs. Now, the debuffs aren't guaranteed, and it's not really always going to be good debuffs. She does horrible damage. Sadly, she is C for basically all the reasons I explained. Next up, sadly, Leopold. All he does is burn. Literally it. I'm going to double check. Just got to make sure. But literally, all he does, burn, burn, and burn. That's it. So he also does weapon enhancement, but except for that, literally just burn. Not really good. His damage isn't that good either. It's yeah. His ult also is only 1 person for the burn, so it kind of sucks. So yeah, Leopold is kind of shafted. Does suck. Hopefully they do make him better, because I really love Leopold. Now next off, we're gonna put. I'm pretty sure his name is Shurin. Let me double check. Shurin, right? Yeah. So his damage is pretty good. He has an AoE ult, and that does good damage. And his skill 2 also is an AoE, and it has good debuffs. And except for that, like, it's nothing crazy, but his combo does stun if you want. So I would say he's pretty good. Well, pretty good. He's a pretty good C tier. He's nothing crazy. His damage is okay, but except for that, nothing at all, really. Just a normal SR, right? Now, last off, I'm pretty sure her name is, what is her name? Let me see. Her name is Nebra. Nebra's ult is pretty good because it has clones. Now, these clones will do damage if she uses her skill 1. And they do 150% damage, so it's actually pretty cracked. But except for that, like, that's her only good thing, I'd say. Nothing else is too good. I guess she does have a stun, but, like, yeah, she's a solid C. I guess you could put her B if you want. I just, you know, personally, I don't really see a use in her. Because for her ult to be useful, she has to use her skill 1, so she has to wait a turn. And her skill 2, you have to use it for it to be good, but then you have to use the skill 1 for the ult to work. So, you know, this kind of like, it's holding her back a bit. I think it's still, she's okay. Like, if you run her, I think you could have some fun. It could be a meme team, maybe. Now, the bottom tiers, Magna doesn't really do much. I don't even know if he burns much. That's the sad part. He defense reduction, burn, stun, and burn. So he has a 50% chance to stun. So it's not guaranteed, which kind of makes it kind of sucks. 50% chance is good, but you could also get it insanely unlucky. And the burn is on 1 person, and then it's just he has 1 AoE. The rest are single targets, so it's not that good. Yeah, definitely D tier, not good at all. Luck, also not good damage, has a paralyze, but it doesn't always work, so just D tier in general. Now for the last thing, I'm gonna have to go a bit more in depth because I don't really know them too much, but I did rank him this when I made the tier on my own, tier list on my own. Now this guy has okay damage, but except for that, it's not that good. He has a taunt. Okay, this is why I put him in D. He has a taunt, but he doesn't get a defense stance. Instead, he gets a counterattack, which his counterattack doesn't do good damage, first off, and second off, because he doesn't have a defense stance, he literally won't be doing anything. Like, he's just going to be dying from this taunt. He is not really good to have a taunt on, in my opinion, because the rest have, like, either a shield or a defensive stance, like Noelle, which is why she is an A tier, right? Now, next off, I think his name is Valtos, I'm pretty sure. Yes. This guy just not really doing much. He's an attacker, but doesn't really do much to get, like, better attacks. So, D tier. If someone wants to tell me why he's any higher, let me know. right? I just don't really agree with any of it. Now, the other brother, the weakest brother, this guy could apply Total Silence, but usually won't. Now, his combo attack seems to be okay, but the rest of his kit isn't exactly too good, I'd say. He's good as a debuffer, but he's an attacker, so I don't really get it. He should be a debuffer in my opinion. I mean, yeah, they say he's an attacker, but he's not. So this is my overall tier list. I am pretty confident with this tier list now. Maybe B and A tier could interchange a couple of these units. And you can let me know why or why not you agree with certain ones. Would love to hear your opinions. These are my thoughts about the arena PvP, about who you should use. S tier ones that I honestly, that team could be a team on its own. Like literally, you could make that a whole team and it would be the best team. Like genuinely. Mimosa keeps you alive. William keeps you alive in stuns. Mars stuns and tanks, and Real does damage and stuns, and also does what's it called, also removes buffs and also lowers defense. So yeah, this team definitely gonna be cracked. But these guys, if you don't want to use any of these, are also good replacements. Like Asta is a good tank replacement, Mimosa is a good heal replacement, Noel's also a good tank replacement, good stun replacement, good DPS replacements. 4 of them, like jeez. These guys are not S tier because Real's there, but if Real wasn't there, I could honestly, I would probably put like Jacker, the seasonal unit, there, in my opinion. B tier, they're okay. Like Charlotte, she seemed better, but she isn't. Sad that she got the step up. They could have made Real the step up, and that would have been fine. But you know, Lotus, solid B tier. Radis could be A tier, honestly. I like that he has it for 2 turns, so no one's dying for 2 turns. Like that's cracked. Yami, I agree with B tier completely. In PvP at least. PvE, he's better. Nozel, you know, just nothing really good. He's a debuffer, but doesn't really debuff much. Yeah, Fuego, you know, also just not the best. So yeah, this is my tier list. I'm not gonna go through the whole thing. Very good. I'm happy with this tier list, and I hope this does help someone if you are playing the CBT at the moment. Of course, there's only what 3 days left, sadly, but you know, we'll do what we can with it. This is like pretty concrete in my opinion, and I hope that you guys enjoy this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.